Hello community, I hope you are doing good. In this discussion we will see how to create a custom module with custom model, views and the menus. And in case you missed previous discussion about what is depends key in the manifest file and how to auto install dependent module, please check link is given in the description. And if you want to learn more about Odoo, you can visit the Weblearns channel. Under the home screen you can see Odoo 17 development tutorial is here, and this is the main playlist, and here you can see this is the sub playlist of this main playlist with the topic wise. And likewise you can see here this is the older version of the Odoo development, and here you can see different types of playlist available with the different topic wise with the real test cases. So let's back to our main topic, like how we can create a custom module, models, views and menus. So guys, if you remember, I already created a new custom configuration file, which is this one, right? How to add a multiple add-ons path, plus how to configure Odoo in PyCharm. Please check link is given in the description if you don't know how to configure, right? And last time we also created 5 different modules, the custom modules, but those are created from the scaffold command. So first thing is I'm trying to remove these non-used modules. Let's focus on the student. In the manifest file we can just leave as it is at the moment, right? And yeah, one more thing, we have to just remove this deleted module from this depends. And after that, first thing is we have to remove all unnecessary folders right now. So this is the first one, the models.py file, right? And here let me delete all the code and let's start from the scratch. So here you have to import fields, models, packages from this Odoo. So for that you have to use the from Odoo import fields and models. So what is it? I will explain everything, right? So here we are trying to create a model. So first thing is the class, we have to define as a class, and then after let's say the student. Here in the brackets we have to use the models.model because we import from this Odoo, so it will automatically create a new Odoo model class. So for that we have to define here underscore name. This is the metadata of the model here, right? So this is the prefix. So when you create your new model, so first thing is we have to use always underscore name. So here let's say WB student. After that we have to also provide the small description, like what is the purpose of this model, right? So we can just use here, this is student profile, right? And this is necessary now onwards from this 15 to 16, and this is the 17th version, right? This is the latest version. Why? Because yeah, another thing is this is also optional, but once you start the service, right, like this, so automatically Odoo provides here the warning message. Let's say wb.student_model missing description. So to avoid such warning messages, so here we have to just define the description metadata as attribute plus equal to, and whatsoever you want to add any free tags, you can add anything, right? And now here we are trying to create a new field. So for that we can create here the like this. So again, here this models you understood, right? To create a Odoo model, so we have to compulsory import from this Odoo as a models. We have to pass this parameter like models.model, right? After you have to provide here underscore name equal to wb.student. Another thing is when you try to create a new fields in the model, in existing model or the new model, you have to compulsory import from Odoo fields. Using these fields we can create a different types of fields here. Let's say you can see here character field, relational field, selection field, boolean, dat, one to many, date time, date, HTML, binary, image, like a lot of reference field, a lot of fields you can add here, right? So don't worry about all the fields, I will explain one by one with the real test cases, right? At the moment you have to understand this library, how this import functionality, you have to understand how this model we can add, right? and how to define a basic fields. That's it in this session. And yes, the basic one is how you can also create views, the basic one, but in a detailed session one by one I will explain in our upcoming session. So here let's say the care field, I will use here the name, right? And that's it. I'm using here only one field, which is the name. Okay, so here again you can see we are using this database, right? To confirm here you can see Odoo 17 underscore test underscore 2. So again I'm going to here PSQL minus D, right? Odoo 17 test 2. Okay, now you can see here select star from WB underscore student. You can see in this database this WB underscore student is not exist at the moment, right? Let me minimize this one. This is for your information only. In after some times you will understand why I'm showing you this from the terminal. Now again one more thing is we have to create a views. So views we have to create in the views.xml file. Let's say forgot about everything here. So first thing is this is the main module name under like all the models, right? Here the Python models, I mean whatsoever you create or existing models you are trying to override, this is the basic structure. Let's say the models, you have to provide here the directory name, and in the directory name you have to provide this init file, and this init file whatsoever here list of Python file is there, you have to register here in a sequence wise. Okay, so here I'm just using the models.py file, and this model.py file I'm registering in this from.import models, right? So this is the directory only, but our main init file is this one, this init before this manifest file. So this is the one this is the one main init file of this module. So here I'm also simple import this models directory from dot import models. Okay, now let's say you want to create any type of views, right? Form view, list view, Kanban view, pivot view, calendar view, like a lot of views supported by Odoo. So let's say existing views you are trying to create, so compulsory you have to create a views directory. Under the views directory you can define here any name. So in our case I'm trying to use here, let's say student underscore view dot xml file. So xml file is the must here. Let's say if you are a fresher, right, and you already done a lot of projects in a different languages, let's say in a Python or in a .NET or PHP or in a Java. So as a framework level, let's say you want to create some views, right, in the front end side, I mean not the desktop application I'm talking about. At the moment I'm talking about the web application. So here the HTML form comes to the picture, right? So in this case Odoo is very smart, so you don't need to worry about the HTML forms and all. It will automatically convert from this XML file to the particular form view. You don't need to define anything, the HTML code and all, at all. It will automatically convert your XML file, and based on the XML file it will display in the front end side. So I will show you how it will work. Okay, so first thing is I'm trying to create here the list view. So for that we have to use this record. So this is the record, which is the main tag of this Odoo. So first thing is we have to define the Odoo as a root tag. After that you can, it is not compulsory, but let's say if you want to use the data, that is also fine. Let's say I'm not using the data at the moment. Okay, and here I'm using the record. So this record tag, let's say you want to create a different views, or let's say the Windows action or anything, you have to use always the record, and under that record you have to provide the fields tag. How it will work I will show you now. So first thing is the ID, and the second is the model as an attribute name. Okay, so ID is the unique ID you have to provide here. Another thing is the ID and the models, right? Here let's say the ID should be always unique for this particular student module. Let's say if I'm using here ABC, I will not use the same ABC ID here with the different form view. Let's say I'm using here the form view and I'm using here the list view, right? So both ID should not be matched. if it will match, then what happened, it will override the last one. So due to that, you have to always remember, you have to provide here the unique ID in a module level. Okay, so the here like I'm adding here, let's say the WB student preview, right? And model, like when you create any kind of views, right, so it should be always IR UI view. Okay, and here you can use here the field name like this. Now you have to copy like 2 to 3 times. You have to first provide here the name, so name after the model, here arc type equal to XML like this. Here the field tag is the sub tag of this record, so always you have to use the field. So this name, model and arc, so this name, model and arc all are the fields of this IR UI view model. So this is actually a model. You can see like we created this model, right, wb.student. Same like this, we can also use here this model to create a different views in the Odoo site. So for that we have to define here, actually we are creating the records for the views, and Odoo automatically translate this XML file into the HTML format. Okay, so it's actually a parsing, but for the parsing we have to define such record only. That's it. This is the only way you can define a different views, right? So this name, model, arc, right, those are the field name inside this model. So due to that we just define here the model as an attribute in this record, and ID should be always unique. You can add any ID. After that the name would be always the same here, the field tag, because it will identify, okay, this is the field name we have to use. So in the name field we have to use here a simple let's say whatsoever you define here, right? So this is the first case, you can just paste here and you can just use here the dot. You can also use here the underscore, that is also fine. But if you see here in the existing views, right, the name, you can see the ID is like this, it's using the different the name like this. For this one, the tree tag, right, it defined like this. And yes, here in the search you can see it's using like this, the same name but with the dot notation. So it's up to you. All right, after that here we have to define the model and what model we are using, right? So for that we have to just copy this one and we have to paste here. And after that we can use here tree, and let's say the field name equal to name. So the tree view, right, so tree tag we have to use. Inside the tree tag, how many, let's say we have a 10 different fields here, right? Let's say 1 2 3 4, right? In the tree view, how many fields you want to display, right? So let's say only 2. So you can just add here something like this, like field name equal to the name field of this model, and let's say the name 1 I'm using here. So name 1, so name 1, name 2, name 3, name 4. Okay, so let's say I want to only use 2 fields in the tree view, the list view. Okay, now I'm trying to copy this one and I will paste here. This is my form view. So for that I'm just changing here the unique ID, make sure like it won't be matched in the same module. Instead of here the tree, you have to use the form. And here let's say you want to display all these fields, right, 1 2 3 4 and the name field, then just you can use like this 1 2 3 and let's say the 4. Now you have completed, let's say, the tree view and the form view, right? So now it won't be display here if you upgrade the module, right? So you can see here discuss, dashboard, invoicing, link tracker, app and settings, all are the menus. So here the first thing is we have to also create a menu, right? To create a menu we have to also provide in a menu as a specific action here, like once you click to this invoicing, so it will automatically redirect to this account.move model and in the tree view, right? So basically you can understand there is some controller part you have to define. So here the Windows action, right? It comes to the picture. So first thing is we have to create a Windows action. So same, let's say like this, model. Okay, and here I will use like wb student action like this, but here we don't need to use this ir.view, but instead we have to use here ir.actions.act_window, this one. So this is the model name we have to use because we are trying to create now action. So first thing is here, let's say, and yeah, one more thing is the id. We have to forget about this one, or let's say this model one, right? So this is the core structure to create any kind of Windows action, server actions, or views, okay, or the records. You have to remember like this: record, the main id, model, which model you are using. Then after, to define the fields value, so you have to define here the field name and the field value, field name and the field value, field name and the field value, like this we are using here. Okay, I hope you understood. So here again, like I'm using here the name. So here I'm providing here the name as a student. Let's say the what is the model name, right? So here I have to use res_model. So wb.student. Okay. Another thing is we have to define here different view, right? So for that we have to use here view_mod. So once I click to the menu, first it will display list view and after the form view. So sequence wise we have to use tree, after that form. If you have a multiple views, you can use here that view 1, view 3, like this, so on. Okay, and that's it. We don't need to use the third one. So you can see we created a tree view, form view, and the Windows action. Now it's time to create a menu, right? So for the menu, you don't need to define in the record, but here you can use menu item. Okay, and here the same, let's say the id. So wb student menu. After that we have to bind this action to the menu, right? So here we have action_id, action. Okay, and here we can use copy this id and we have to paste here. After that we have to provide the menu name. So to this we have to use the name field. So let's say student. Okay, and that's it. But in our case we are trying to create a same like this, the main menu. If you click to invoices, right, it will redirect to this menu. It's by default it's display the first menu here, right? So you can see here the invoicing, this one is the main one, the main menu. Under this invoicing we have like customers, and customers having invoices, credit notes, amount to settle, payment, products, and customer, right? If I click to here, you can see different screens display, right? So like this way we have to also create the link, right? So let's say the student, this is the parent menu. After that, let's say Weblearns is the second menu, and third one is the student list. So like this way we will create a menu. So in this time we have to create a 3 different menu items. So we have to just copy like this, and we can just use like root, wb student root menu. And here let's say if you are creating a main menu, right, the parent menu, then you don't need to use the action. Okay, so by default Odoo automatically manage, okay, this is the main menu and it will display here. Now for the sub menu, right, sub root menu. So this is my unique again id. I don't need to use this action, but here you can see this is the Weblearns, right? So I'm using menu name as a Weblearns, but this is the Weblearns is the child of this student, right? So here we have to use parent_id, and here we can use this main root id. After that, here we have to use this action, right? But here you can see the name should be the student list, right? So we can just use like this student list, and here we can use student underscore id, sorry, this id name. So it will automatically link, let's say this is the student. Under the student you can see the Weblearns, and under this Weblearns you can see the student list. How you can actually, I'm wrong here because we have to use here the parent only, not the parent underscore id. Okay, so how you can recognize from here, right? So let's say if you find out this menu, so what is the parent? Okay, so this one is the parent, so let's search. Okay, so this is the parent, right? What is the menu name? Okay, this one. Okay, here again it's assigned a parent, right? So what is the menu of this parent? Okay, so this is the student menu, right? So like this way you can just identify the root menu or the child menu. Okay, let me comment this part because while we install the module it will having an error message, so you don't need to write anything like this. If you want to write some notes, you can just use, let's say, the comment like this. Now this student underscore view.xml we have to register here. So let's say under the views, right, and under the views module directory you can see the student underscore view.xml. So in the data key, this is the list of string type is here, and compulsory we have to register all our the XML files here. Okay, another thing is, okay, I will show you later. Let's say restart the service. I'm going to the apps, copy student school. So last time you can see we already installed, right? So let me uninstall these modules. Let me also uninstall this one. Student school copy. So if you remember, when we start developing the student module, we deleted all the 4 modules, right? So let me go to actions and delete. Now I'm trying to update apps list student, right? And once I click to install, I'm in the active. All right, so you can see we are getting some error, right? And when you get error message, right, like this, so you can go to the see details. So you can see here like we are facing some issue like assertion error. So it means it says like line number 4, right? So let's see one by one. So let's say here line number 4 is this one, right? So let's say record id. So if in case there is a spelling mistake is there, then it's also having a same issue. So form is also fine, windows is action also fine. Oh, see here this mono item instead of the menu item, right? So this is my mistake. Here you can see you don't need to restart the service if you are changing in the XML side, right? Directly you can go to here and click to active, and now you can see this file not found, right? Demo.xml. So simple, you can go to the manifest file and remove this one. If you are using scaffold command to create a module, make sure you can remove all unnecessary code, otherwise it will having a shame issue like I'm facing. Okay, so it's successfully installed, right? But here you can see that menu is not displayed, right? So if I'm going to settings in the technical model student, right? So you can see the student model is created, right? And you can see the fields, right? Name 1, 2, 3 and 4. Rest you can see Odoo automatically create the fields. Now the thing is why it's not showing here. Only the reason is from Odoo 15 version, when you create a new model, so we have to define the specific group access rights under the security. Okay, so under the security directory we have to create ir.model.access.csv file, and the header part always should be the same. Don't worry, this security part I already explained everything in the Odoo security playlist, so please check that link. So here we have to define our new model. So let's say for this group I'm just using create. I'm allowing like CRUD operation. So first thing is the read, write, create and unlink. 1 means true and 0 means false, or let's say if you leave as a blank, so it means false. Okay, so I'm allowing this group all the permission, but here you have to mention your model name. So before this model underscore and then after your model name. Here also I'm using like this. So here if you create the record in the XML side, right, so you have to use the record and ID. So here this ID also should be the unique, this one. After that the model. So what is the model name? We are using here that model name, sorry. After that you can see this name, right? So the name would be anything, you can see here, anything you can provide. After that model underscore ID. So what is the model name? So we have to just use the same name, right? What is our model name? So this is the field name actually, all are, and the group name and the 1111 means all the permissions I'm giving, and this file should be registered here in the manifest file now, and you can say security slash, and don't forget to add comma here, and you must have to restart the service because you change in the Python side. After that again you can go to apps, student, right? You can say still you cannot see here the menu student, right? And once I'm upgrade this module, now you can see immediately it will showing here the student module. Once you click here you can see no default view type free. So here instead of free I have to use here the tree. So again this is my spelling mistake. Again I'm going to apps, upgrade the module. Again I'm going to students, and now you can see student, Weblearns, and here student list. You can see this is the tree view. In the tree view, so you can see here in the tree view we define two fields we have to display, right? Name and the name one. You can see here name and name one. So you can see here in the form view without label you can see, but if you tab, right, you can see all the 5 fields is available. But let me go to here and add some group, and you can also upgrade this module like copy, and you can just use -u. And yes, one more thing is you have to mention the database name, -d for database and -u. You can upgrade the module from the PyCharm terminal, and once I start the service it will automatically upgrade this module, so we don't need to again go to the apps searching that module, and after it will upgrade the module, right? So here just refresh the screen, and now you can see name, name 1, name 2, name 3 and name 4 is here. So let's say Weblearns hi hello world, right? So this is our hello world project, and we successfully completed. And you can see here temporary we created 2 blank records, so let me delete. Now you can see the Weblearns, right? And if you open you can see like this. So I hope you understood how to create a new custom module, how to also provide the naming of the specific directory to understand precisely what is inside, right? How to define a new custom model, how to import also specific packages, how to define fields, right? How to create a, let's say, tree view, form view, Windows action and the menus. After that, if you are using the new module, don't forget to add in the security file with the base.group_user. This is the common group. If you provide this one, so all users having access to this particular model. And don't forget to register these 2 files in the data key. Okay, so if you have any doubt related to this our first hello world project, please comment below, and see you in our next session. And our next session would be how to automatically install different models without manually install. So see you there.